Episode 13 of the Trackside podcast. Silverstone weekend has just finished. It finished yesterday. And if you don't know, get to know the result. Lewis Hamilton won his first race since Saudi Arabia 2021. And I've not only had one slice of humble pie, I've had the whole thing and about four others. I said earlier on this season, Lewis Hamilton would never win a race again. And as I said on my on the TikTok that I posted, I didn't think at the time that would happen. You looked at where the Mercedes was; they weren't making any advancements. Red Bull were flying, and that was the state that we left it in. Red Bull have now fallen back. Mercedes are getting higher up, quicker, faster, better, and it's resulted in Lewis Hamilton winning. So again, I'm going to apologise to all Lewis Hamilton fans, Lewis Hamilton himself. I'm sorry for ever doubting you.
Incredible.
Ben said all along it was going to. My prediction was not going to come true, and well, this season all the drivers seem to be going out to try and get us and invalidate our opinions. And I'm back with my two fellow partners in crime with some terrible opinions. Maybe not Ben, but Will. Yeah. Will and Ben are back with me.
Listen.
Can I just say though, Ollie? I don't actually want to throw you under the bus that hard because Will was also participating in that. He said it would be. I said he's going to cook, and Will said, and it will be raw. So Will plays a part in it as well.
To be fair, I thought I got away with it because you didn't include it. All you included of me was me shying away from the camera. But looking back on it, yeah, I hold my hands up as well. But
Look,
the reason why I hold my hands up is because, as Ollie said, you look at where that Mercedes was. You look at where Red Bull, Ferrari, even McLaren. We all turn around and went, maybe going to Ferrari is the right idea. But I'm throwing this on you lads now, because this is the main talking point for me now, moving past the weekend. Has Hamilton made the right decision leaving Mercedes to go to Ferrari now? Of all times, is it now? Or is he now looking at it going, I've made a mistake here?
No.
Of what's happened?
He got asked this question in a press conference and he turned around and said no. Because I think it's more to the decision than just obviously on the track. Of course, you have a very good point in the sense of, Mercedes, all of a sudden. Because for me, people have their own opinion. This felt like their first win. Like last week was obviously gifted to them.
Legitimate win. Like legitimate raw pace, yeah?
Absolute, right?
Yeah.
And the reality is, I do think that Lando should have won it, but it wasn't that It wasn't though that a case of Lando lost it and Hamilton was there. Hamilton still earned it from that pit stop. He still drove it to the end. He still managed his tyres. You saw what Lando did with his softs and allowed Max to get by. Whereas Lewis was still on the money, on the pace, looking after the tyres, conserving, still putting in the lap times. And it felt like, he deserved that win. He overtook George earlier on in the race to actually take the lead, and then obviously got overtaken again by the McLarens. And then, you see, both McLarens could have won that race as well. I think Piastri got really hard done by the team. And Norris didn't help himself by stopping way past his pit box, so he had a 4.5 second pit. But just, you couldn't write it any better.
What a weekend. What a weekend
for us Brits.
Exactly. The person who wrote the script this weekend just onto something magical, weren't they? Like, Ben, because I put in the chat, I was like, Ben, please say something, because even I myself was absolutely going insane. And I didn't hear from you. The race finished at, 4:30, 4:45? I didn't hear anything until 5:30, 6. I was like, Ben, please say something. Like,
it's too busy making TikToks.
Yeah, honestly, just absolutely incredible. And what a Grand Prix it was. We had it all. We had...
So good.
We had dry, wet, dry, back to dry. We had 4 different race leaders. At one point, you look at around lap 35, lap 40, you had no idea who was going to win the race out of 5 cars. It was just incredible.
And the thing is as well, like, this is the first race I've watched with my dad in ages because I'm back home now. and he stopped watching it ever since I sort of moved to university because he had enough of just the same old thing. And he watched it, and when both McLarens were getting past Verstappen, he was like, "Hang on a minute, what's happened to Max then? Like, what, is he not good anymore or something?" And I was like, "Well, this is news to me as well. Like, why is he getting overtaken?" And then Lewis obviously going on to win it, we just couldn't believe it, and it was just brilliant. How many times have I said to you about how I feel like the British Grand Prix is the best? And sometimes I wish I wasn't British or English, whatever, because then I would still say the same thing, and people wouldn't be able to go, "Oh, you're biased." There's so many aspects to why I believe this is the best Grand Prix, and then to have a race like that, and for the outcome, and to me, it wasn't the case that he broke the record for the 9th win and the most at any other circuit. It was the fact that he hadn't won in 945 days. So
56 races as well.
56 races. So if it was, say he won Austria last week, I would have done the exact same thing I've done. I would have gone nuts, mental, been loving it, been so happy. The fact it was the British Grand Prix, like you just can't write stuff like that. It's unbelievable, man.
I mean, that's what DC said, and Webber said. Like, he could have taken Austria, he'd have taken Spa in 2 weeks' time. But for this one, I mean, just incredible. Ollie, you were at work, weren't you? You were at work when it happened.
But you were lucky enough to have it on for once.
Yeah, no. So
Channel 4 coming in clutch.
Yeah,
Channel 4
literally.
having it on.
But yeah. So story of my weekend is, as I've said in the past, pretty much since I've been back from university, is the fact of I'm now working at a restaurant, so I've basically forfeited my weekends to earn some money because, let's be real, being a uni student up in London is really hard. But yeah, so I forfeited my weekends. So watching Formula One and watching any kind of sport in general is kind of a novelty for me now. But yes, obviously with the Euros being on, we had TV in the kitchen on the Saturday just because it was like, right, okay, stick it on for the England game. And they left it in there. So I came in on Sunday morning and I was like, please have the TV still in. Please, I am begging. And we saw it on and I was like, yes. And then I said to one of my mates I work with, because he bought in his Sky box the day before to work the TV, and he'd taken it home. And I was like, oh God, I'm not going to be able to watch the F1. And then he said, it'll be on Channel 4. And I was like, oh my God, it's brilliant. So
I think that, yeah, I agree with you. I think having that on Channel 4 was nice because it meant everyone could watch it around the world.
Yeah,
well, not around the world, but around the world, or around Britain, who don't have Sky Sports F1. It gives us something. It's our Grand Prix. It's our British Grand Prix. Why should we limit it to only those who have?
So I imagine that is
Sky.
why it was. So I imagine that the reason it would have been on mainstream TV is because it's the British Grand Prix. A bit like 2021 Abu Dhabi, because it was such a big thing, they did a deal with Sky to broadcast it for free on Channel 4. And I imagine that the British Grand Prix, obviously, because it's our Grand Prix, that they did a deal or whatever, and it wasn't just the highlight show. But obviously, I still watched it on Sky. But some of the commentary this weekend across so many different channels has been incredible.
I was going to say, unpopular opinion, if Channel 4 did F1 every week with Alex Jakes, I'd take over Martin Brundle every single day. Not Martin,
Crofty.
I'd take over Crofty every single day. Because, Ollie, you've said it so many times. The way Alex Jakes is poetry in motion. He is fantastic. It was the line when he crossed, like, don't call it a comeback. He's been here for years.
Yeah.
It's just how do you think of that? Quickly.
I saw that today. So basically, obviously, I watched the Sky, and the last time we sort of spoke about commentary was for Monaco when Leclerc won, and it was Alex Jakes was, his was unbelievable, and Crofty's was kind of like a little bit bait, whatever. This weekend, I loved Crofty's. I thought it was brilliant. I thought he really captured the moment really well. And then I went and watched the F1 highlights because I was like, obviously, I want to hear Alex Jakes. And then realised that he wasn't doing F1 TV this weekend, so it was someone else. And that person doing it, I was like, oh, I wonder where Alex Jakes is. And it wasn't until 2 hours before we recorded this that I saw his. And I thought, yeah, sorry, Crofty, I'm going to have to put you in two here, because he started his from the old start-finish straight. the national pits. That's where he started it, and he does like a whole great big thing, and he goes through Magnussen, Beckett, and everything. Whereas Crofty's was sort of down like the straight before
into
sort of
Stowe,
the last few turns, and yeah. So, but either way, they were both brilliant, I think. And like where Crofty does go, we've said it 8 times before. Here's a 9th for you. It's just like it's goosebump stuff, man. It really is.
No,
Alex Jakes was class.
It is brilliant, and like as we say so many times on here, the fact of we're journalism students, so we kind of pay a bit more attention to the reporting style or the commentary style of each individual. It's kind of like when they produce moments of brilliance like this, it's just kind of like that's what we want to be doing. That we want to be them. We want to be in that position and commentating like that. But yeah, as going back to your point, well, as I've said hundreds of times on this podcast now, Alex Jakes, I think he's better than Crofty. I mean, I think there was one moment this weekend. I can't remember what he described it as, but Crofty described the rain as something, and it like I can't remember the exact words, but it was something really childish, and it's like it feels like with Sky, with Crofty, it feels sometimes like they're trying to appeal to an audience that's not fully in touch with F1, but like they're trying to. It's almost like they're trying to get people on board rather than maintaining their.
Yeah, I do get that. I mean, the F1 show is always one of my favourite parts of a British Grand Prix weekend, and obviously on the Thursday they did like the penalty shootouts and stuff, and that was hilarious. And I did love it when Crofty said to the 2 Alpine drivers, even when you try and work together, you can't. And then that's when Gasly dropped an F-bomb live on TV, and I thought it was so funny because obviously instead of taking penalties, they were trying to like pass to each other and like. By the way, how funny was it that they were bigging up that they had a Premier League goalkeeper and it was David Stockdale, who was at York City last year. But yeah,
he was at us.
Yeah, not last year though.
No. This was 2016.
Yeah, exactly. But they were promoting it as though he's a current Premier League goalkeeper.
Ball knowledge.
So it was that was funny, but nevertheless, I just enjoyed it for everything it was. And boys, please just talk to me about Lewis Hamilton. Forget anything else. Just talk to me about Lewis Hamilton.
It's just incredible. Well, this is what I'm going to say to you actually, and this is something that I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying as well, on social media saying. It's incredible to see. Really incredible to see who actually has talent on the grid and who has the fastest car.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to say it again. I said it before and I'll say it again. Lando Norris does not have the bottle or the composure to win a Grand Prix. Because
it's an interesting take, Will.
It's too many mistakes. Because he even knew it himself after the Grand Prix.
Oh, he was angry.
He was angry. Also, a bit annoyed at that. Your fellow countrymen's just won the Grand Prix. Lighten up a bit. Just because Max ain't won it, just because your bestie ain't won it. Like, come on, lighten up a bit.
No, he did say congratulations to him on Instagram. And I'm sure he would have said it in person. I get it because obviously he came second last year, third this year, and he probably this year would have been the first proper time he felt he could have won it. He wasn't happy with his quali, and obviously issues in the race. And he even said in the pen afterwards, it's got to a point now where the team, we're just making too many mistakes. And can't remember who it was, Will, that said it, but I tagged you in it on Twitter, just like we both said. Might have been Matt Gallagher, I'm not sure. But that we can't be calling McLaren underdogs now. They're underachieving rather than overachieving.
We were saying this. We were saying this in our last episode. We were saying that McLaren are now at the point where they are the fastest car on the grid. Max is pulling that Red Bull to phenomenal heights, and he is now. I mean, obviously there was the incident last week in Austria, but he is really showing his
racing pedigree.
Yeah.
And McLaren are the fastest car, and we can't deny that. But to play devil's advocate to this whole Norris had a bad weekend, that pit stop absolutely destroyed his race.
Yeah, but it was his fault.
It's his own fault. It's his own fault.
He doesn't stop in his pit box, so they have to readjust. And so the front jack is pushed back, so he can't put the car up straight away. Yeah. He's being pushed back, and then he's got to wheel it back forward and then jack it up. So it's his own fault.
The cracks. He knew this pit stop had to be perfect. Basically, he knew he had to get this pit stop basically perfect because it's not just the pit crew. He has to, as we saw, you could do a pit stop perfectly, but if you don't stop in the right place, that's on you. And that is the crack. But then also, it's after that. It's the gunning for Lewis and not maintaining the tyres, and
Exactly.
it's the inexperience. Lewis puts on before a set of soft tyres to Lando. Lando's fall off 5 laps earlier.
The only thing I will put down on the team is that it shouldn't be Lando's duty to pick his tyre. They should have. Lando had a fresh set of mediums. They should have given him that. They should not have given him the softs. Because to be fair, I was surprised they gave Lewis softs. I thought they were going to put him on the hards, but they put him on the softs. But when they saw how well Piastri was doing, and he was going like 0.2 quicker a lap, or 0.2 quicker a lap, or it was either 2 seconds or 0.2. I do apologise. I know there's a massive difference, but he was catching up, like basically setting quicker lap times than those at the front on fresh mediums. So they made a huge. If Lando had put on the mediums, he would have won that race. But the fact that Lewis didn't lose it was because of his tyre management and just unbelievable understanding of that track and the way it works. But no, seriously, I need to just say, when that Lewis win came, we've been doing this podcast. Lewis has not won since we started this podcast, right? I knew when it would eventually come, because I knew it was going to come, and I'm not going to. There will be some things out there that I never saw coming. Did I see him winning this weekend before the weekend? Before the weekend took place? No, I didn't. Right? I saw him winning after quali. After quali, I did, but at the start of the weekend, I didn't see it coming. Right? But so any win, I would have gone nuts for. I'd have come on here and I'd have been like, "Oh, Ollie, you said this, whatever." But it's just so sentimental that it's the British Grand Prix, and I think for me personally, and for so many other people out there I know will agree with me, not the DTS bot accounts on TikTok that think they know everything, right? For me, it signified more than just your favourite driver winning a race. It signified how you should never give up in anything. You should always trust in your own ability, and that, when things get tough in life, when it gets hard, just like I said, to genuinely believe in yourself, trust your true ability, surround yourself with people that make you feel good and positive about yourself, and it will come good in life. And that's what that race taught me more than anything. That I enjoyed the moment. I enjoyed him crossing the line, but everything else after that was, I'm so happy for a person I've never met because I know how much hard work they put into it. So that's why I got very sentimental over it.
I think that's exactly what he said to Rachel Brooks in the pen afterwards, wasn't it? He was saying,
Natalie Pinkham.
Natalie Pinkham. I was chatting. It was
I know.
Brooks last week, and I called her Natalie Pinkham. And when Lewis was in the pen after the race and after all the celebrations, Natalie was extremely emotional, and
I know
her and Lewis. I mean, that exchange. Sometimes I start watching a little bit of the conversations that they have in the pen, and then I'm like, we heard these questions last week. What's the point in listening to them again? Whereas I watched the whole interview of Lewis, and the whole time I just couldn't stop smiling. I was like,
me too.
Like this, it kind of felt like it was meant to be, in a way. Like even me, obviously I said Lewis wasn't ever going to win a race again. I've been proven wrong. But the fact of going into the race, when you asked me that Saturday night, what are your predictions for the top 5? I was saying to Finney, I was like, I think Lewis could do this. I really think Lewis could do this. But then I was like, is he really?
Take the gamble, yeah.
The thing is as well, boys, is that whether or not some people thought it or didn't think it because it wasn't, Max ahead, Max gets ahead of Lando on the first lap, and Lewis has kept him behind. And then he kept him behind long enough for the McLarens to catch up and then get back ahead of Verstappen. And Verstappen only ends up leading. To be fair, Max, I think he would have been anyway. He would probably be very happy with P2 because I don't think he should have even been on the podium this weekend. So to get P2 in the end is actually a very good result for him. And again, funnily enough, this won't be the story of the weekend at all, but he extends his championship lead yet again, which shouldn't really be the case. But I could I could talk until the cows come home about this weekend for so many different aspects of it. The fact that obviously your favourite driver wins is one thing. The fact that they win the home Grand Prix is another. The fact that we're now up to 6 different winners this season in 12 races, when we only had 2 between Miami 2023 and China 2024. Like, that's ridiculous. We had 2 winners in the space of like a year, and now we've got 6 in the last 12.
Yeah.
We have got our sport back.
I just want to quickly. I mean, we as you said, Ben, we could talk about Lewis and the victory until the cows come home, but there obviously are other talking points that we need to address that happen this week.
Well, not just yet, because I haven't necessarily enjoyed enough of this yet.
Oh no, I know, but I want to make a. I think it's a fair point, and I'm going to put it across, and obviously we'll see what people say about it. But I think what really showed this weekend that was significant was that usually when, especially in the past 2, maybe 3 seasons, is that when Lewis gets overtaken in a race and he's high up, you usually see him fall back and you see him go further and further down the grid, and you're like, oh, okay, he was at the front for a little bit and now he's dropping back. The hopes of him winning's over. And I did kind of have that feeling again when Lando passed him. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's Lewis's opportunity for a race win gone. I was seriously like, when Lewis was ahead of Lando, I was like, okay, he could actually go and win this. But then he got overtaken again by Lando, and it was like, okay, well, it's back to normality. Lewis is going to drop through the field. And then after that pit stop, where Lewis was then ahead of Lando, I was like, oh my God, this is actually happening. Like, this is happening. I was like, oh, this isn't like it has been for the past 2 or 3 years. It seemed like we had that fighter in Lewis back again.
Like his dad, Anthony Hamilton, said after, as soon as he was at the front, he was never going to lose that race.
No, and I think that's what's significant. I mean, I think it's down to the crowd. I think personally, I mean, Lewis has said so many times how much the British crowd give him such a boost going into every single race weekend at Silverstone, and I think yesterday really showed. Yeah, it showed how much of a boost it does give him, because to hold on to that lead in probably the second, maybe third fastest car on the grid, and with Lando Norris and Max Verstappen both chasing him down with 12 laps to go, and he managed to maintain that lead and build that lead as well, really showed Lewis as kind of like, I'm back.
We are so back.
We are so back. It's so true. I think
F1 is so back.
I mean, I loved the Saturday. I don't know if you saw, they watched the penalty shootout on the big stage with the fans, both Mercedes drivers, and that was brilliant. And obviously, England going through on penalties, and that was a great night Saturday. And then just on Sunday to have, if Lando Norris had won or if George Russell had won, it would have still been massive. I do not want to downplay that at all. If they had won it, and the fact that it would have been their first ever British Grand Prix, I would have been so happy for them, so excited. It would have been great. The fans would have been up for it, and it would have been the same storyline of what a great week for British, English, whatever.
No,
but the fact that it was Lewis,
I would have hated it because of the Norris fangirls. Would have been awful. It would have been absolutely awful.
This is a long-standing rivalry. Will, he didn't get driver of the day.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He didn't get driver of the day. No, I'm not. Just
he did come second, though.
Norris is starting just to my nerves a bit, because he's starting to gain an arrogance about him.
I've thought this for quite a few years, but I've just never really said anything.
He's starting to gain an arrogance that he all of a sudden deserves everything, and it does annoy me. Like, after the post-race interview as well, he was like, you could tell he was very angry, but it's just like, all right, mate. In a way, we get it. Like, you've missed out. It was your own fault.
It doesn't help that. It doesn't help though how he was absolutely livid, and you got Brad Pitt in the background pretending he's just won a race, and he's in the media pen, and he's like doing. Do you see Fernando Alonso?
Yeah, it's the way he turns around so
he's
confused.
Like, what's going on here?
I hate the fact that we have to deal the arrogance Lando Norris is getting, and his fans are just I hate it.
To be honest, Will,
much.
Yeah, but to be honest, Will, I don't even want to talk about negativity on this podcast this week. I'm just so happy. Like, there's just so much good to talk about this weekend.
I feel like
Like,
if Norris had got driver of the day, I genuinely would have just given up. If Norris had got, when I saw that poll come up, I saw Hamilton at the top and I saw Norris in second. I was like, are we serious? I was still annoyed he was second. I was like,
yeah,
oh,
but yeah, it's
what?
because all of his fans. It's because all of his fans were actually at the Grand Prix and they had no signal, so they couldn't vote.
Vote for him, yeah. I
No,
tell
but
you what,
seriously, like if like Will, when me and you did the pod the other week for Spain, because Ollie couldn't do it, and you said who's winning next week, and I said Lewis Hamilton, and we laughed and we was like, yeah, that's a good way to end it off. Like, if I'd said the same thing last week, Austria, and we would have gone again, we would have gone, yeah, okay, whatever. But he's won.
yeah.
Sir
You
Lewis
know what?
Hamilton has won the
You know
British
what?
Grand Prix, man.
Have you
Like,
just seen that? I
for me,
can't get
that's
out of
enough.
my
I
head
could just
is
log off now. Like,
just
I'm
call it
so
a day
happy.
there. End the season early.
Yeah,
The
well, the thing is,
craziest
right,
thing.
he's 8th in the championship, and I don't care about that. He's won the British Grand Prix.
He's gonna win the lot. He's just gonna
I
win
just
the
keep
lot.
flicking through my phone all day, Instagram, Twitter, and just seeing all the pictures, all the how many people are happy for him, all like the lovely tweet. And like, I've never met the guy. The guy's never met me, and I'm so happy for someone. Like, it's just incredible.
I'll tell you what. I think I mean, if England do well in the Euros, I think, and I mean, this might be a bold shot because obviously it's only like in the grand scheme of things, it's one race win in the space of 3 years. Obviously, it means a lot because it's Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone. He's the first driver to win 9 races at one track.
Yep.
Obviously, it's a massive achievement, but in the grand scheme of things, if he only wins one race this year, he's only won one race in a season, which isn't great, bearing in mind his previous history. But say if England do well at the Euros this summer, we're obviously already in the semi-final. Say if we go on to win it, obviously this moment with Lewis Hamilton. Say if we have another moment with Lando or George, obviously British drivers doing really well in Formula One. YouTube will not care about this, but Mark Cavendish breaking the record for the most.
No, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
I seriously do not know who will win British Sports Personality of the Year this year, because there are so many good candidates. Obviously, you've got Jude Bellingham, Cavendish, Hamilton, Russell, Norris,
Littler.
I mean, Littler. The list goes on. This could be the best year for British sports personality ever. I mean, obviously, my opinion would go to Cavendish, but
I mean, I was gutted that Raducanu got knocked out of Wimbledon yesterday, because I mean, she was doing great as well, and it was a shame because she was going to play mixed doubles with Murray, but she had to pull out. So I was really looking forward to that as well. But you are right; you've got a good point. I mean, we've already beat the Dutch yesterday. We've got Littler versus Van Gerwen coming up in match play darts, and then we've got the Dutch on Wednesday in the semi-final. So
I think sport might have peaked this weekend. I genuinely, I don't. You know, when you see the things like when she asked me what my best experience was, but I lived through this, and it's the Bellingham bicycle kick.
Yeah.
Change that to Hamilton crossing the line after the England
it's
penalty.
just.
But you know what the craziest thing is about it? On the Mercedes admin post, they posted the video of Lewis and George watching the penalties. I don't know where this person is or who they are. Some random account in the comments, and it's got over 30k likes now, because this was generally like 5 minutes after it was posted. They replied to it going, "England today, Lewis Hamilton wins tomorrow?" With eyes. And I was like, oh, that'd be funny, wouldn't it? And I keep thinking about it now. I have no idea who that person is or what they were cooking. But oh my God, tell them to buy a lottery ticket. It's absolutely incredible. And that's just in the back. It's just sport this weekend couldn't have gone better.
So good. So good.
5 perfect penalties. A 1-2-3 on Saturday as well before it. And then, I mean, don't get me wrong, we could have had another 1-2-3 this weekend, because realistically, in my opinion, it should have been Lewis Russell. It should have been Lewis, Norris, Russell in what it should have been, but obviously Russell was really, really unlucky.
Well, I was going to ask you that, actually. I was going to ask you if he hadn't been unlucky with this water system failure that he seemed to have, which was so ironic considering it was absolutely lashing it down with rain and he had a lack of water in the car. But do you think he would have won the race? Or do you think he would have won the race?
No, because Lewis already got past him on pure pace before that. And then just bolted.
They would have probably done a different strategy to Lewis. So they might have put Russell on the hards. Or what I suspected, they would have put Lewis on the hards and George on the softs, even though Lewis would have had priority. It was one of them things you could sort of maybe see happening. But I always thought from the start that they'd put Lando on the mediums. I have no idea why they didn't do so.
It's weird.
I mean,
it's so weird.
we've spoken a lot about British drivers so far. It's been a good weekend for one of the British teams. I mean, Williams, P9 and P11 in the race. I mean, fantastic. Logan Sargent, P11.
I know.
Fantastic result
It's
for
so
him.
funny that he had to drive that beautiful Union Jack car on the 4th of July weekend, by the way. But no, genuinely a really good job. And I think I've seen rumours that, it's got to the point now where I am right in thinking that Spa is the last race before summer break, right? It's not the first one after.
No,
Yes.
Hungary is the first one after.
Oh, yeah.
No, Hungary's in 2 weeks. Hungary's the next race.
Oh,
So is it Hungary then Spa and then a
I thought
break?
it was
or is
Spa then Hungary, because that's what they said. That's what they said on the
No,
thing. They said Lewis could have.
Hungary's on the 21st. Yeah, and then Spa's on the 28th. Okay, so Spa's the last
Oh.
one before the summer break, right? I think Sargent is going to get the boot. Ocon is going to go to Williams for the last remainder of the season, and then he's signing for Haas next year, and then they're going to put someone in that Alpine for the remainder of this season. That's my thinking process.
There's silly season, Ben, and then there's
So
that.
Bottas, as I've said all along, is signing for Williams next year, right? But Ocon cannot wait to get out of Alpine, so they'll release him early. They'll get rid of Sargent. Ocon will go to Williams. Someone will come in at Alpine, Mick Schumacher, Jack Doohan, whoever. But Ocon will sign for Haas next year.
My brain has just exploded.
That's my thinking process, and I'm pretty sure Ted said something similar on Notebook.
Yeah, no, he
Perez
did.
is gone.
Oh,
Get him
right. Okay,
out.
as you mentioned it, Jesus Christ, that man.
We're talking about his contract.
No, we can talk about his contract in a minute.
So cooked.
No, we can talk about his contract in a minute, right? But I don't know if you two have seen this. So obviously we all know. Well, I mean, he didn't even drive in FP1 because Isaac Hadjar took his seat. Almost caused a collision with Norris, but I mean,
that's all right.
Norris still would have got driver of the day. But just for FP1. But going into quali with Perez in Q1, he decides to go and spin it on the outside of Copse into the gravel and beaches his car
on his outlap.
Yeah. I didn't know if you two had seen that. In fact, it was his outlap. If it was his hot lap, I'm like, okay, you know what? Fair enough. You're pushing the car to the limit and you're spinning it. Right. You can. There's a bit of leeway. It's your outlap and you're spinning it into the gravel. You're done. You're done.
What made it even better?
You're done.
Was the camera cut to Christian Horner shaking his head in disappointment, and they got that perfectly timed.
But then, did you see what they cut to after? They cut to Daniel Ricciardo's face on the pitch.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, let's just clear up that whole situation. So basically, what's been said or what's floating around in the rumor mill is the fact that in part of Perez's contract, it states that he cannot be at any point 110 points or more behind Max Verstappen. He is currently.
Well, I've heard it's 100. I've heard that he can't be any more than 100, and he's currently 119 behind.
He can't be any more than 5 places behind him, and he is fifth. He's fifth. He's 6. Sorry, he's 5 places behind him currently.
Yeah, he lost out to Piastri this weekend.
Yeah.
Which means that if he doesn't stick to those contractual rules, that he could lose his seat going into the second half of the season.
Which would be a straight swap.
Means he would get swapped for Daniel Ricciardo.
Right, no, so hang on a minute. That is probably going to be the case. However, I can't see them booting Perez out full time, right? So you'd think it would be a straight swap with Ricciardo. But Lawson has got he's got shooting days booked in the calendar, which have so-called been booked for 2-3 months. But we saw what happened last year when Ricciardo had days booked. He got the seat at VCARB straight away, and Nick De Vries was out. I think Lawson is no way they're going to put him straight into Red Bull. But if he goes in, gets the VCARB seat, that's Perez's Formula One career done, just like that.
Yeah, because no one's going to take him. No one's going to take him.
Can we just discuss this, right? So it's clear to Yuki has been outperforming Danny Rick all season. Why is Danny Rick the one that's name's getting mentioned for this second Red Bull seat? It does not make sense. All he brings is money. He does not bring any skill.
You've literally just answered it.
Ollie, we are not in a position really to know why that is. But to be fair, when I say I'm for it, I don't mean in the sense of, oh yeah, I'm for Daniel Ricciardo being a front runner or anything like that. No, listen,
Ollie's face.
listen. I'm not for it in the sense of wanting to see, but I'm for it for change at Red Bull. I'm so sick and tired of them just literally babysitting Max for the sense that Perez, that's why they signed the deal. But there's so much pressure now on Red Bull, I reckon, from sponsors that he's, if he was coming third and fourth every other weekend, that sort of would be his job. The guy's not even finishing in the points. He struggles to get out of Q1. It's like, that's embarrassing beyond belief.
Well, two incredible stats that I've seen this weekend is that in the
He was lapped twice.
I didn't see
Jesus.
that. But that makes three incredible stats. Is that in the past two races, Nico Hulkenberg has scored more points than Perez has in the last 6.
Yeah.
And the fact of Logan Sargent has outqualified Perez 7 out of 12 times this season.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Logan Sargent.
It's genuinely like you cannot sugarcoat it any better than what you've just put there. It is beyond awful. And it's a shame because I actually really like Checo. I'll keep saying it, repeating myself every week. I said when he was at Racing Point, if that he hadn't got that Red Bull seat, I was advocating for him to get it, and I really wanted him to stay. And he has done really well at certain points for Red Bull on like street circuits, and he's had his moments. Pack it in now. Time to go home, I'm afraid.
No, I agree. But I mean, we can talk about one bad egg in a good team this weekend. But can we talk about a whole basket of bad eggs being Ferrari?
We can, but I just very quickly think we should talk about another Ferrari Works team first because they deserve to come first, and that is Haas.
Yes.
20 points in the last 2 races, 18 of them scored by Nico Hulkenberg, back-to-back P6s for the first time, I think, since 2018, France and Austria, I think it was. I mean, that is genuinely unbelievable. And apparently, there are talks now that Haas could be the 5th quickest car. Haas, the 5th quickest car. And
that's crazy.
Will, earlier on when you mentioned about do you think Lewis will be feeling, has he made the wrong choice? I don't think so. But I'd love to know if Hulkenberg's worried about the fact he's going to the only team that have scored no points this year when he's potentially in a 5th fastest car now.
Yeah, but they got a nice looking car. So it makes up for it.
Oh my God, pack it in.
No, but that is the thing though. This is what I can't. Our drivers may be committing themselves a bit too early. Is now Lewis? Have you seen like the meme where it's like Lewis googling how to unsign a contract or how to rip off a Ferrari contract? Because he is probably looking at it. I mean, you look at Leclerc this weekend. Jesus, he looked drained in the paddock after. He looked like he'd had enough.
Yeah.
He wanted to go home. He just had enough.
The thing is with Charles, he obviously, not getting into Q3 was one thing, and that was the struggle. But he actually had done really well, and he made a really good overtake. I think it was on Stroll, and he was running in the points at one point. I think he was up to like 6th or 7th, which would not have been obviously good considering where they had been at some points in the season, but it would have been enough. But it was a bad pit stop. Again, they put him on the wrong tyres at the wrong time. And under Fred Vasseur's leadership, I don't really think we've ever spoken too much about Ferrari, and their bad strategies and, of the past. But it seems to be creeping in a little bit, and I don't know why.
The one thing that did make me chuckle this weekend, not one thing, loads of things did, but I saw something on Twitter and it was captioned, "We are so back." And the image consisted of the Ferrari pit wall having clowns over their faces. And you know which image I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's the clown frogs.
But
yeah.
Obviously, we just talked over Haas a tiny bit there and about their success this weekend and last weekend as well. But Ollie Beerman's got to be licking his lips, isn't he? Knowing the seat that he's going to be driving in next year.
It's so annoying, though, that we're going to officially have to watch someone younger than us drive Formula One. This is the start, lads. It only gets worse from here.
I'm pretty sure Piastri's already younger than me, so I'm already in this position, Ben.
Oh, I forgot you're a bit older than us. Yeah, that's true. But
Ollie's back's gone.
Well, that happened 3 years ago, mate.
Yeah, Ollie Beerman is obviously he's probably looking, like you say, he's probably licking his lips, looking at this Haas car. But Nico Hulkenberg, because to be fair to him, obviously qualified P6 in itself, which was really good, and like quite a lot of the time with Haas, I think, oh well, they'll fall back on a Sunday, and there was a time he was sort of down to 9th and 10th. So to get back up to P6, and that's only with a Russell DNF. So maybe he would have been P7. Like he still had to work his way back there. It was brilliant. Fair play to them.
And I think as well, one thing that's really key to note is the fact of go back to last season when Hulkenberg was putting in these miraculous qualifying performances, coming like top 8, top 12. Everyone's like, oh, Hulkenberg's actually really good in qualifying. Now we don't even bat an eyelid at it. Now it's kind of just like, you know what, Hulkenberg's in there again. Imagine my shock.
Yeah, if you were to pick the top 10, like, right now, if you were to name the top 10, not in any order, but who makes the top 10 in qualifying, you go both McLarens, both Ferraris, 7. The last 3, who are you throwing in? Hulkenberg, Alonso, and
Stroll.
No.
Albon.
No, not Albon. He had a good weekend, Albon, but I wouldn't throw him in top 10. Are we talking about as in drivers that? Or are we talking about the actual pace of the cars?
Say it's pace of the cars.
Right. Well, I'm chucking you.
Well,
so I would agree with your 7.
Both aspects.
I'd agree with your 7. My final 3 would be Sonoda.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Hulkenberg. And
yeah, Alonso.
I said no. I would go with Stroll. Like I know you're not having that, Will.
I'm not having that.
I don't think it's crazy to say at this point that Stroll at this moment in time is outperforming Alonso.
I might throw in Gasly.
That's
Up until this weekend, he was in points 4 consecutive races in a row, Will.
Sorry, are we... Right, so the Alonso shout is all... The Albon shout's awful, but the car's been at the back of the grid the entire time.
They haven't, though. That's
normal.
The whole point. That's the whole point. They haven't been. Before this weekend, he'd been in the points for the 4 races in a row.
Chucking Gasly in there. No. Have a day off. All that blood's gone to your head because of Hamilton's win. all that blood's rushed. It's rushed out your head.
Listen, that's what I'm going off of right now. I mean, to be fair, like I'm looking at the Drivers' Championship right now, and Hulkenberg has 22 points. Magnussen has 5. That's unbelievable. Hulkenberg only has 1 point less than Stroll.
Oh wow!
Damn, didn't know that.
Danny Rick is only 9 behind Yuki.
Yeah, but Yuki's just better.
Yuki's better because he's got less PR.
I've mentioned for a while. How I do think it's times we talk about how it's coming to an end for Sargent. It needs to be coming to an end for Zhou, I think, as well. To be honest with you.
I've completely forgot he takes part in the race. He's not going to lie. I just think there's 9. Actually, I think there's 18 drivers because I'm not even sure Perez is doing half the time.
If I'm going to say that, I have to be fair. He did get into Q2 and he did outqualify Bottas for the first time. It's either this season or an X amount of races.
Oh, what did he do? What else did he do?
So
Tell
there
me. I didn't even know he took part.
There is that. But what's really interesting about talking about Haas being the 5th fastest team is when they are still 7th in the constructors. So they are still behind RB and Aston Martin. But just in terms of on race day, they seem to be the 5th fastest car.
About the Zhou thing is, Gasly didn't even complete a lap. And I still know that he took part in it.
No. So
Zhou didn't.
I've got a conspiracy theory about Gasly this weekend. So he obviously had his 50-place grid penalty, which, for those that don't know...
2023.
Yeah. For those that don't know, just means he starts at the back of the grid. It doesn't mean anything extra. You don't get an extra 30 carried over.
He has to start on the hanger straight.
Yeah. Yeah, right? But my conspiracy theory is that the new components that they would have put in the car, it wasn't that they failed, it's that they wanted to save them and be able to use them at their peak for a race where they're not starting at the back. That was my conspiracy theory.
So what you're telling us is that they used because I think you have to use the new.
Well, mate, he's been back. Who is it? Who is it that they've just got back at Alpine recently since Crashgate? What's his name?
Flavio Briatore.
Well, back all of a sudden, and the conspiracy theories are flying around Alpine. A shock, you say?
I'm no
Flip
genius.
Flip it.
Well, no, I think I don't know whether this is an actual rule or not. I mean, this is just me speculating, but I think you have to use the new parts for it to stand. So I don't know whether they used them.
He did a formation lap.
But yeah,
and his lap on the Saturday was only to make sure he set a time deemable so he can actually take part in the race. As you know, you have to set a time. And that time was 8 seconds off the pace anyway, because he set it in the wet, and then it was basically before Perez's crash, and then they didn't send him back out.
Component game.
Ben, royal hat off.
So, listen, but
Alpine would have got away with it too if it weren't for that meddling, lanky Ben.
No, listen, but there is something I want to talk to you about, right? There is. So Lewis Hamilton this weekend won the race. And
didn't know that.
And what I want to talk to you about is that where does this rank in his 104 victories? And then the second part of that question is, where does it rank in his 9 British Grand Prix wins? For me, I'm not going to rank 1 to 9, but 2008 and 2021 I always had. I'm like, oh, which one's better? Which one's better? I think I'm whacking this one above 2021, but under 2008, which finally makes me come to my conclusion on 2008 and 2021.
I mean,
I'm putting this at the top because of the just
above 2008.
The emotion behind it.
In terms of his pure, not from a fan's perspective. In terms of his race wins, 2008, he lapped the whole field apart from the podium, and he won by 68 seconds.
He's got during that race, his softs are going off. He's got Max Verstappen. He had prime Max Verstappen behind him chasing, because for some reason, whenever Max learns that there's a chance Lewis can win, he turns into prime and Senna for some reason. So he's just. Max is chasing him. Yeah, exactly. You've got Higher Bullet as well behind him at certain points in the race as well, before Lando got scared and just dived out of stone. Like, go on, Max, please go past. Go on. It's up there with one of his best drives.
So many stats as well come out this weekend. Like, for example, first ever driver. By the way, please excuse me if you can hear drilling. I must say. But one thing I will say, right, is shut up, Will. One thing I will say, right, is that first ever driver in the history of the sport to win a race after they've competed in 300 Grand Prix. This was his 344th, right? 199th podium, so we're one away again from even greater history. A first person to get to one. His 150th podium with Mercedes. Just so many stats, right? And just seeing him with the gold trophy, man, like just everything about it is just so special. So special. Like, I feel like we haven't glossed over it. We've given it a good talking thing at the top, but like, as we should. As we absolutely should. It is, and also, he's only 1 point behind Russell now in the championship. So Russell might be 10-2 ahead, on a Saturday, but 1 point in it in the championship. And what's really annoyed me on our TikTok comments, right, is you have to learn to take things with a pinch of salt, and you have to learn that there are people out there that just whatever. But I want to get on the side of TikTok. I want to get on Lewis's fan base's side of TikTok. Why do we see to get all the Verstappen and Norris side? Why can't we get all the Hamilton, woo, woo, woo? Because on Twitter, I see so much love for him, and then we're just getting all the crap.
Oh, are you joining me on the Norris fan base hate? Because it's awful.
No, it's not hate.
Norris is the best thing since sliced bread.
It's why can't people enjoy his win? So many people in the world of Formula One who work in Formula One have come out, like Will Bucks. So many people have been like, this was special. Seeing Hamilton win at Silverstone, there is something, said Vettel, there is something so special about it. It's kind of like peak emotion, peak Formula One, and they're talking about a guy who dominated for so long, right? I still don't believe to the point in which Verstappen has been recently, but he did dominate. You can't hide from that, right? a person who at times they probably would have wanted to stop winning, but he's now gone and won the British Grand Prix. And for a storyline, it is one of the best. There isn't a bad word you can say about it. And we still have people on our TikTok going, "Oh, he was lucky. It was because Lando's got let down by McLaren." Or if I saw someone put something like, "He sacrificed Russell's race by overtaking him." And it's like, sorry, why am we on this side of TikTok? Why can't we have the nice people on our comment section? Let me enjoy this moment. And I did, to be fair. I did. It did annoy me, though, that like you two are my only sort of mates, plus maybe another one person that like Formula One. And no, like what annoys me is like, I got mates that do so many other different sports, right? And maybe not for me, but I will fully get indulged in it for them, to support them and to sort of, just be in it and just. It means something to you. It means something to me. Why can't anyone message me and be like, "Oh, I saw Lewis was winning. I'll bet that like that's nice." No one. It's like, "Oh, well, I thought he was supposed to win anyway." Shut up, man.
One thing I do want to say is, though, is this the end of the prime Max dominance? Is this it? Are we at the end? Is this the end of it? Are we? Have we gone through the dark tunnel? Can we see the light at the end of it?
Who said it last week? Who said it? Who said last week between you two that obviously he'll still win the championship, but he's going to only win like 5 or 6 races? You.
Yeah. This guy. This guy right
here and here, right?
I turn around and said, don't get me wrong, he's going to win. There's 12 rounds left. But out of those 12, he's only going to win. I said he's only going to win 6 to 8 of those left. Now I'm thinking more 5 to 6 rather than 6 to 8.
Also, boys, 6 winners. How many people end up on the grid this year with a win? I'm saying 7, and that 7th is Piastri. He's due a win.
I wish.
He is so due a win. He might even... clip this. Clip this. Oscar Piastri is going to finish this season with more wins than Lando Norris.
Woo! That's going to upset the Norris fan base.
It's not the worst. Yeah, but if that happens, we genuinely have to. Something has to be said about Norris and his bottle.
No.
If that happens, it's just that is there is no excuse then.
You do realise, even if Piastri does win, Norris will still get driver of the day. It's just going to happen.
Norris has gone off track and drove into a hospital. He gets driver of the day.
Yeah, that's a take of mine. But something else I want you to clip, in case you weren't aware of this. Lewis Hamilton won the British Grand Prix this weekend.
Wow, I was not aware of that.
And I'm still yet to see you two fully indulge in the Lewis love. So I would like you both to say one thing you liked about his victory this weekend.
Right, I'll go first.
Is this a job interview? Christ.
No, I think for me, like if you were to put it in a kind of like the moment of the whole situation was when Bono came over the radio.
Yeah.
And you could hear Lewis was sobbing. Bono was like, "We've done it, you've done it, mate." Like that was for me, that, like, I mean, it's giving me goosebumps now, but that moment between Lewis and Bono on the radio was
so special.
So special. Like, that will stick with me for the rest of my life, that moment.
Because there was a bit in the race where he comes over the radio, right? And instead of saying it's hammer time, he said it's our time. And for me, maybe underrated opinion, but it sort of just symbolised how much those two have been through together since the last win and since sort of having to pick himself up from 2021, how much they've been through as a team, as mates, as whatever. And even though it's Lewis driving the car, it was theirs. And the fact that it was Bono that got to go up on the podium as well, it was just so special. There is not a single thing I would change about this weekend from start to finish. It just had everything. And I like I've said to you, sometimes I wish I could say I'm not English, so the bias is taken out of the conversation. I loved it. I would have loved it if I was Spanish, French, Italian. I just symbolised the whole weekend was, like Will, you said, it was written perfectly. Whoever was out there writing the scripts, they deserve an Oscar because it was amazing.
Best picture.
Amazing. And yeah, and I don't even really need to see anything else now for the remainder of this season because this moment will live with me forever. I've got it on the TV, on the box set, kept. It's locked. You get, like that will be stuck in the TV forever, and I will rewatch it. I've already gone back and watched more stuff today. I've watched the race in Brazilian. Like I've genuinely, I've watched it all because it means so much. And like I said earlier on at the start, it's more about just a car crossing a finish line and a checkered flag. It's about never giving up, always believing in yourself, and trusting yourself and making sure you surround yourself with people, man. So for me, it means the world and back.
One of my mates
And
said to me,
that's
they
why I get
were like,
emotional.
have fun with Ben on doing this podcast because he is going to get emotional and not be able to shut up about Lewis winning. And I went, nah, he won't be that bad, surely. And now I'm
Well, to be fair, you haven't answered. What's your one thing about this weekend that you loved about the win?
Norris didn't win driver of the day.
No, go on. No,
No.
seriously, go on. Yeah, go on.
No, I'd say when he got out the car and he's hugging his dad and then runs over to the infield of Club Corner and then is just embracing it all, and you can visibly see he's been crying. And one thing I do want to say is quite funny. Have you seen the photos? You know they always do the drivers go on the fencing of the pit wall, the catchment fencing. Lewis is holding the trophy. If he drops that, if there's someone if that's me underneath that, and Lewis, I'm bolting. I'm gone. See you later. You will never see me again. I'm gone.
Can I just mention one thing? And this literally brought me and Finny to tears of happiness, or not happiness. It was just it was happiness, but it was just stupid. Have either of you two seen the Sky F1 Kids?
Yeah, the Gangnam Style.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. F1's gone.
It had me creasing.
The game's
honestly.
gone. The game's gone.
Will, would you like a stat on driver of the day? He's the first driver this year to win driver of the day outside Norris and both Ferrari drivers.
It's rigged. It's rigged.
Can we just quickly as well, because we probably won't have time to cover Formula 2 this week, so I just want to quickly say one thing, because the racing was quite entertaining from what I've heard. I didn't see any of it.
We have an F3 winner as well. British F3 winner.
Avrid Lindbrad is he is going to be the next big thing. Like, trust me, this kid is, he's 16 years old, British, Red Bull Junior driver. Avrid Lindbrad, or Lindbrad, something like that. He is going to be the next big British driver. You can write it in the history books. You can date this moment in your calendars. He is going to be no. Give it 5 years time. He is going to be one of the best drivers on the grid. Trust me. He won both the sprint race and the feature race, which you both know is a phenomenal feat in Formula 3 this weekend. And I think it's the first time ever it's been done at Silverstone, and it was his first time ever racing at the track as well, which makes it even more crazy. Yeah. But we've spoken about Lewis winning, and his replacement.
Wow.
Potential replacement. Kimi Antonelli got his first Formula 2 victory this weekend, obviously winning the sprint race in very difficult conditions. And I must say, I've said this year a lot of the time. But I've said this year a lot of the time that, okay, he's not really showing his credentials of being the next big thing yet, or one of the next big things. But there was a safety car, and then it came in with 9 laps to go. In those 9 laps, he managed to gain a gap of 8.2 seconds, I think it was, in wet conditions, in a track he has never driven around before.
Oh.
So that's fast. If he does get the Mercedes seat next year, I'm sure that performance on Saturday morning will have a lot to do with it. But yeah, congratulations to Antonelli. Congratulations to Avrid Lindbrad. Great performances from both of them. So yeah, that's kind of all I can feed back.
And shout out Pato O'Ward because he won IndyCar as well last night.
Oh my God, boys, have you heard as well? speaking of F2, do you remember we spoke last year about the Indian F2 driver who struggled to get his car turned around at
Mahavir
Azerbaijan?
Raghunathan.
He's been banned completely from racing.
No,
Incredible.
this is news to me.
He's been, Ben, 3 days ago, he's been banned completely from racing.
How come?
Because he's that bad.
He's that bad, or it's something to do with his license or something like that. He's penalty points, something like that. He's been banned from racing.
Forever or just for a few years?
I
Or
don't know if it's forever, but I know he's been banned. Like, he's banned.
incredible.
It might be for now, and then they review it. But all I know is right now he's not getting in a car for at least the foreseeable future at the moment.
When are you going to start racing again?
Mate, honestly, hopefully November.
Do you have to pay to enter things?
Yes, and it is a lot. Motor racing.
Yeah, it's like my mate who plays golf. He has to pay to enter every competition.
Motor racing is not cheap. It's not cheap.
No.
And I've even had the fact that I've had the opportunities to even experience it and live the dream of even taking part in a race. I have the thing to say. I've completed the childhood dream. I took part in a race, and I came 5th out of 55, 5th in our class out of 15 as well. Like, I'll take that. In endurance racing as well is something I thrive in.
Would you ever do that
day, night, day. I've done it all.
Would you ever do that thing? I'm pretty sure I've seen something that you can pay like 250 quid or so, something to drive an F4 car or something. Would you ever do that?
I'd rather put that money towards actually funding my own racing career than taking the chance.
Because the thing is with me, I've always said I'd love to be in an open 4-wheel car, but obviously I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to drive it around, and I want to do that 2-seater thing experience, like 2-3 laps around Silverstone.
Would you let me? Would you let me?
Well, I'd have to watch you. I'd have to actually watch you race first. We build you up as the racer of the podcast, but for all I know, you could be like track limits galore.
I mean, just saying, when we went go-karting together, who was the winner?
Yeah, but listen, mate, if we'd gone with an empty track, we're not talking about that.
I hate electric carts. Pointless.
But also, the IndyCar winner, Patio Award, is the first winner of the new hybrid era of IndyCar.
Patio? What, is he in B&Q?
What? I didn't say patio. Did I say
patio?
You
said patio award.
So it's just because I'm selling the house. So I was thinking about all the things around it. No, listen, he won the first, because IndyCar is officially hybrid now. It's a change mid-season, so that's a big win. It's more than, just any old win. Here's one for you, because Ollie, earlier on you were going to bring up Ferrari, and I said we should speak about Haas first. Carlos Sainz is now only 4 points behind Leclerc in the championship, and he missed Saudi Arabia.
Jesus.
Yeah, wow. Crazy.
Leclerc has been lapped in 3 of the last 4 races.
Whoa!
Did not realise that. Jesus.
It's about time. I mean, he's come out, Leclerc, and gone, I've had enough now. Like, I actually have had enough with this. We need to get better. And Ferrari are well and truly the 4th fastest car. And ever since Monaco, it has just totally crumbled. But then on the other side of things, Sainz come out and said that this weekend was one of my most solid races at Ferrari.
That's what I mean. I think drivers are going too early. I know you have to get the seat locked in and stuff like that. But I think that they've gone too early. I don't know. You know how much I love Carlos Sainz. I don't know. I don't think he should lose the seat.
But we've spoken a lot about driver standings today and where different drivers are placing at their teammates. Ben, I think it's time for predictions, my friend. And if you listen to this back, you'll be very happy to know that I have managed to add a jingle, or kind of.
Oh, thank you, Ollie.
To the edit.
What a week for it as well.
I'll leave a bit of time here to put it in. But yeah, take us away with the predictions.
So, boys, it is that time where we discuss the prediction. we discuss the predictions. Now, if you're not aware, Mr. William Smith did take the lead for the first time in 8 or so rounds last week. And he took a 2-point lead over myself. I can confirm that not a single one of us scored a point in qualifying.
No, I knew that because we got that so wrong.
So, we move to the race weekend. And I can confirm for the first time ever in Predictions League history, Ollie and Will walk away with a 0-point weekend.
Oh no. Oh no.
Well, we maybe
So,
should.
I wonder what that means, you say. If they are the only two that did not score, Ben, that means you must have scored. You would be correct in saying that. Now, please cast your mind back to when I said at the start of this that Ben was 2 points behind William. So, of course, if he got 2 or more, he would be joint or the new leader. So, he scored 3 points and he's back at the top. Hamilton 1, Verstappen 2, Norris 3. I saw the vision. And I'm back on top. I have 51. Will has 50. Ollie has 39. Will, I said to you last week you should have made more of a big deal about being on top because I am back and I am ready to make it clear.
I'm 1 point behind.
The fact that I saw the vision and still chose to ignore it.
But can we seriously talk about the fact? No, but can we talk about the fact I got the top 3?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would have got that top 3.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I don't think anyone saw the result that this weekend played out from qualifying to the race itself.
Thing is, as well, I had Russell 4th and Piastri 5th, which I don't think would have happened if Russell had stayed in. But if he had stayed in, Piastri would have been 5th. So I would have got another point there potentially as well. Or actually, no, it doesn't work like that because it would have been... Okay, well, never mind. I'm still winning. So, listen, that was a good weekend all round for me. The fact that I won, I'm now back on top of Predictions League. Lewis Hamilton won the British Grand Prix. Life is so much good right now. I love sport. I love Formula 1. I love Trackside Pod F1.
We're so back.
We are so back. We are so back. We're so back. And I'm very much looking forward to putting a clip of me talking about Lewis Hamilton out on TikTok. Jamie being in the comment section going, oh, here we are. It's Ben again. He can talk for England. And about 9 other people slating me for being a Hamilton fan or saying it was based on luck. We will be there. We will be there.
Utter woke nonsense.
We will be there. No, but genuinely, can we do another episode now? Just talk about Lewis for an hour.
Oh God, I don't think I can.
My phone's gonna die.
I need food.
Yeah,
My
no,
phone's
me too.
gonna die.
No, but genuinely, boys, it's been a privilege, and I just think like we were so lucky to witness that this weekend. That is why I tried explaining to my parents. Everyone has like passions in life. Everyone has hobbies and things they're interested in, but I don't know what there is else out there that like sport that will just entice you into something and like play with your emotions. Like I'm not talking about Formula 1. I'm talking about sport. And for me, live sport, witnessing history, like there's nothing else like that out in the world that can just grab you in, play around with you for like so long. And shut up, Will. Like genuinely mess with your emotions and like 52 laps, for example, in Formula 1, just the best 52 laps in the end, in the outcome. The fact it was at Britain is Silverstone. My job here is done.
Someone get Ben some tissue. Jesus Christ.
We are so back.
But I think ultimately the fact of we are so back is the perfect way to finish this episode.
Driver of the day.
Drive the day.
Alan!
Come on. But yes, I mean, thank you for listening or watching. We know you won't be, but thank you anyway. We will be back for another episode in 2 weeks' time. And yeah, catch us on TikTok and Instagram.
Couldn't have said any better myself.
We're done here, and we'll be back for another episode after Hungary. So yeah, catch you all next time.